Archaeologists just found something older than history itself. What if everything we thought we knew about the dawn of civilization was just one chapter in a much, much longer story? For decades, one place has defined the beginning of our settled history: Göbekli Tepe in modern-day Turkey. At 12,000 years old, it was considered the zero point of history, a temple complex so ancient it was built before writing, before pottery, and even before agriculture as we know it. This was supposed to be the starting line. But we were wrong. Across that same ancient landscape, a massive archaeological project is unearthing a whole network of lost settlements. And the discoveries coming out in just the last year are tearing up the history books. This isn't just about one site anymore. It is about a lost world that is completely changing our understanding of where we come from and pushing back the origins of human civilization itself. The established truth, the world's first temple. To get why these new finds are so revolutionary, let's go back to what we thought was the beginning. Picture southeastern Turkey, a region known as the Fertile Crescent. Around 12,000 years ago, groups of hunter-gatherers people we long assumed were simple and nomadic came together and built what is arguably the world's first temple, Göbekli Tepe. The place is a marvel. It's made of massive circular enclosures, and at their heart stand these monumental T-shaped limestone pillars, some over 18 feet tall and weighing up to 60 tons. These aren't just blank stones. They are covered in sophisticated carvings of fierce animals, foxes, snakes, boars, and lions, figures that must have been central to their creator's spiritual world. The discovery of Göbekli Tepe in the 1990s was a shock to the system. It proved that complex rituals, social organization, and monumental building existed thousands of years before cities and agriculture. It completely rewrote the timeline, and the site just keeps giving. In 2023, a life-size statue of a wild boar, covered in pigments, was found there. Then, during the 2025 excavation season, archaeologists unearthed another stunning find: a human statue, deliberately placed within a wall between enclosures B and D, almost like a ritual offering. These discoveries show that Göbekli Tepe was a vibrant, evolving ceremonial center for millennia. It was humanity's first great project. But as we're now learning, it wasn't the only one. The revelation, a lost constellation of sites. Now, everything we thought we knew is being challenged. Göbekli Tepe wasn't a lone miracle. It was the shining star in a whole constellation of ancient sites, known collectively as Ta-Tipler, or the Stone Hills. This massive project is investigating a network of more than a dozen Neolithic sites in the region, and it's revealing a surprisingly dense and interconnected world that existed 12,000 years ago. While Göbekli Tepe was long seen as a unique ceremonial hub for nomads, these other sites show that many of these communities were living in permanent settlements. Excavations are revealing houses with hearths, ovens, and food storage areas, showing that daily life happened right alongside profound ritual activities. Some researchers even believe certain sites in this network might have roots that are older than Göbekli Tepe's main enclosures. Another Mendik Tepe is currently being excavated by a team led by Professor Douglas Baird of the University of Liverpool. They believe it captures the very beginnings of the transition to settled life, with architecture that appears to be a precursor to the grand style seen at Göbekli Tepe. If Göbekli Tepe is the grand cathedral, sites like these might be the first humble villages that started it all. Unpacking the evidence, a world of human art. So what makes this Ta-Tipler network so groundbreaking? It's the sheer diversity and artistry of what's being found, which paints a picture of a world buzzing with innovation. One of the most prominent sister sites is Karahan Tepe, where over 250 T-shaped pillars have been uncovered. In October 2025, archaeologists there made a stunning breakthrough: the first ever discovery of a T-shaped pillar with a human face carved directly onto it. For years, researchers theorized these pillars were stylized human figures, but this find provides the first undeniable proof. These weren't just posts. They were representations of ancestors, spirits, or perhaps the people themselves. Then there is Sefertepe. During the 2025 season, archaeologists there uncovered two reliefs of human faces carved in a style completely distinct from anything seen before. At another nearby site, Seberk, archaeologists in 2021 found what might be the world's oldest known narrative scene. Carved on a bench in a communal building, the 11,000-year-old relief shows two related scenes, one of a man flanked by two leopards, and another of a man facing a bull. Archaeologist Dr. Ailams Dogan believes the connected panels tell a story, representing a collective memory that kept the values of its community alive. A lost landscape of innovation. What all this paints is a picture of a vast, thriving cultural landscape. These were not isolated pockets of humanity stumbling in the dark. They were connected communities, sharing ideas, technologies, and a rich symbolic world across southeastern Anatolia. They were building, carving, and telling stories at the dawn of a new age. This network of sites shows that the transition to settled life wasn't a single event, but a long, experimental process that began earlier than we thought. It wasn't a sudden revolution. It was a slow-burning evolution. These hunter-gatherers were far more sophisticated than we ever gave them credit for. They lived in a world of deep symbolic meaning, with organized societies and explosive artistic expression. They created not just one temple, but a whole sacred landscape dotted with settlements, homes, and ceremonial sites. This entire region was a cradle of innovation where for millennia, humans experimented with new ways of living, building, and believing, long before the invention of agriculture as we know it. The new human story. So, what does it all mean? The implications are staggering. For over a century, our model of civilization was simple. First came agriculture, which allowed people to settle down. Göbekli Tepe flipped that script by showing that massive construction came before widespread agriculture. But the discoveries across the Ta-Tipler region add an even more profound layer. They show that people were settling down, forming communities, and creating complex art across a wide area, all while still living as hunter-gatherers. Around 8000 BCE, many of these incredible sites were deliberately and mysteriously buried, their stories silenced under tons of earth. For 10,000 years they slept beneath the hills of Turkey. Now, with their rediscovery, they are speaking to us again, telling us a new story of our own origins, a story that is deeper, more complex, and far more wondrous than we ever imagined. The stone hills of Turkey are only just beginning to give up their secrets. Each new discovery pushes our history further back and deepens the mystery. What do you think drove these ancient people to build such incredible things? Let us know your theories in the comments below. And if you want to stay on the cutting edge of history, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more journeys into our lost past. The new mystery, the history books are being torn up and rewritten in real time. The idea of a single zero point of history has dissolved, replaced by the reality of a sprawling, ancient landscape of human ingenuity that we are only just beginning to map. The discoveries across Ta-Tipler show that the roots of civilization run even deeper and wider than the grand monuments of Göbekli Tepe. They point to a time when our ancestors first took the tentative steps away from a life of wandering and began to create the world we now inhabit. The biggest question is no longer where did history begin, but how much of our story is still buried, waiting to be found. The hills of Turkey have held their silence for 12,000 years. Now, they are finally starting to speak. And the world is listening.